let's start from within. Often we wait for more heroes and we wait for leaders to show us the way when deep in our hearts we know the way. And we know that by standing steadfast around our ideals, by pursuing our mighty missions, which make us happy, by expressing our genius and our glory that we have within us, and by standing for honesty and truth and dignity and love for all, we lead the world in our own unique way. And so please don't give away your power to the economy. Don't give away your power to the pandemic. Don't give away your power to the disruption. Don't give away your power to the trolls that are out there. I mean, I'm seeing so many people, they're unhappy, and so what they try to do is they try to take other people down because they're angry. And what I'm suggesting to you is be a light in the world. Christopher Morley said we can curse the darkness or we can be a light. And I think, hatred doesn't bring love into the world, to state the obvious. So also use this volatility of the planet right now to grow in your creativity. What I find is when things are very uncertain, I become more vulnerable. And when I become more vulnerable, I become more intimate with my creativity. So I want you to think about that. How you can produce your magnum opus, how you can produce your tour de force, how you can write that book you've always wanted to write or launch that movement you've always wanted to launch by exploiting any fear or insecurity that you're in for a greater purpose. Along with creativity, productivity, we are at a war. And we are at a war against diversion and trivial amusements and distractions. And, one of the keys, I'm writing a lot about it in the new book, is a key element of genius, your genius, is isolation. You've got to get away from the world to do your greatest work. When I was a young lawyer, I worked with a lawyer who used to book a hotel room in the city we lived in when he'd be working on a big trial. And he just locked the door, put do not disturb on the phone, order room service, just to isolate himself to get into his state of deep flow. And I know I do my best work when I'm away from the world and I turn off my phone for days and I don't check any notifications and I'm literally lost to the world. And that's why I think so many artists live by the sea and so many artists, isolate themselves in a little cabin. I think of Andrew Wyeth. I think of J.D. Salinger. These people had these cottages where they would go and work for hours so they could experience transient hypofrontality, which I've written about in the 5 a.m. Club. You can learn about it. It's really the key to genius, and you need to know it if you want to bring your genius to the world. Anyway, remember that the key to productivity is isolation. And then I think the final few things I would share to navigate this world that we're in would be, kindness is so important. And that involves the basics that are often not so obvious. Saying please and thank you. Please means I appreciate you. Thank you means I respect you. Being on time, which is the trait of royalty. I think punctuality is the trait of royalty in many ways. And just communicating in a way that's respectful. You can say whatever you want so long as you communicate it with respect. Sometimes I see people online, they say, I disagree with you. Look, disagreement is absolutely fine, but why do you have to say it like that? Just say, here's another way to look at it. Here's how I look at it. Communicating in a adversarial or antagonistic way doesn't serve anyone. And I think what the world needs right now is more respect, more kindness, and more gentleness. Final thing I would say is make sure you have some fun. Even in dark times and uncertain times, there are still ways we can find gratitude. We can listen to the bird song I was reading about. With all the lockdowns, there's a city in India that finally is able to see the Himalayas after 10 years. Because there's so much less pollution now. So look for things to be grateful for. The bird song, a sunrise, a beautiful piece of poetry, a great sonata or other piece of music, the laugh of your child, a beautiful home-cooked meal. But make sure you find some time to experience the simple graces every single day, because, you'll find them if you look for them.